All right. We're rolling? All right, let's
Okay.
go. I'll just do like a quick introduction,
Sure.
I guess. Hey, everybody. It's me, Sean Leary, and I'm here with James Kukstis.
Hey,
How's it going, buddy?
going well. It's the dead of winter here.
Yeah, it is. The middle of February.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Doesn't feel like it though.
No, it doesn't. It's like 60 degrees out right now and rainy.
And pouring. No big storms though. We should be out there covering that. I wish we had some going on.
Sorry
Well, I
to
don't wish,
disappoint.
but yeah.
So, you work for the Mariner.
I do. I've been with Wicked Local for about 3.5 years. It'll be 4 years this summer.
Mm-hmm.
I've been coming to Marshfield for about the past 3. So it's been a big change. I was covering Norwell and Hanover before, which were much more kind of slower, more low-key towns.
Mm-hmm.
Marshfield, there's a lot more going on, and it's definitely a bigger challenge, but a lot more fun because I get to kind of dip my toes in a lot of different waters.
And where are you from originally?
I'm from Situate, so I
perfect.
grew up reading the Mariner.
Yep.
Grew up reading all that and thinking about constantly how I could make it better.
Hey, now you have your chance.
I know. It's hopefully what we're doing.
Yeah.
I so distinctly remember being a teenager and reading the Mariner and being like, that's what I actually want to do. And it took me about a year or two in the role to realize, holy crap, like that's what I thought when I was younger. And now I'm doing it. So it's fun.
Doing it.
Yeah.
Living the dream.
If my dream, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if anyone else shares that, but it's definitely fun. I mean, it got me into reading that as a kid. And I even delivered the Ledger when I was in like middle school. So it's kind of always been around there. It's just been fun.
What made you want to get into journalism?
I mean, just kind of that, honestly. I would always read the newspaper. I was on the newspaper when I went to BC High, on the Eagle there. And then when I was in college, I became editor-in-chief of my college newspaper at Trinity down there. Then after graduation, I didn't work in anything similar to that. I was living in New York, working in e-commerce operations, totally randomly.
It's like, how did you get into that?
I started in the company I worked for in customer service. Well, a girl I went to school with, she was working customer service there, and they were getting referral bonuses. So they were I think she referred 10 of us or so, and she got $1,000 for each of them that got hired, which was a lot of us. So we had this kind of crew of friends working in this customer service department, which is a terrible job and really tricky and exhausting, but actually it taught me a lot. Particularly in the role I'm in now as a reporter, just going out there and talking to different people, interacting with different people, receiving feedback from readers, having that experience of talking to irate customers, talking to confused customers, all this kind of stuff, and not reacting with the emotion you might necessarily want to react with all the time. That was definitely a good training ground for there. So I was doing that for about a year-ish, a little under that, and then I transferred out into an operations department, which was the department was one that I had specialized customer service in. I kind of got on the team to do that. So I was familiar with people on that team, moved over there, did that for a few more years. It was drop shipping furniture from different vendors all throughout the country to customers all around the United States. We did home goods, we did food and wine, which was a real challenge. And then I decided after a few years living in Manhattan that I wanted to come back up to the South Shore because it's where I'm from and I love it here. So then I started working at Wayfair in Boston. When I came back here, that lasted for about a year. Was not a great fit. And then after that, I was, down the South Shore, started freelancing for the Mariner, and then got hired a couple months later.
Nice. Full time?
Full time.
Right away?
Right away. Well, I freelanced
after the freelance.
After freelancing, yep, full time right away, which is great. It's been a lot of fun. It's a real learning experience every single day. You grow up around these stuff and, town government or just the people that are around and types of businesses and all the challenges that go along with that and all the fun stuff that goes along with that too. You don't really think about those.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, in their silos, they think about that one thing that they deal with this job, which I really like is I get to see a bunch of different sides of those things. And it keeps it interesting. And I get to learn a lot about a lot of different things. It's not boring. I always say that when everyone asks me what it's like. It's definitely not boring. And people assume that a lot.
Yeah.
They think, oh, it's a small town. There's, there's not a lot going on. There's enough going on. And I'm one person. I'm the only one who covers Marshfield. Maybe if there was a bit more of us, it might get a little stale. But there's enough going on that it really keeps it interesting.
A lot of passion in this town.
There is, and that makes it great. And you see, having worked and covered a couple other towns and kind of subbing in back and forth, it's not necessarily the same that I see in other towns. It's definitely much more, people love it here. And they care about their community a lot. And they care about what they see changing, but they also care, and other people care about the changes they want to make. and that's really fun to see, and it's fun to track. And we're here to put that down for the record and get that out there, and also let people know what's going on, because whether that's good or whether that's bad, those things that are happening affect the people.
Absolutely, they got to know about it.
They have to know about it, and it's trickier in the day and age we live in with social media. I mean, you and I pretty much grew up with it, but it's a lot different, because you can post things online. Anyone can do that. But if you have one source that's constantly doing it, you can hopefully learn to trust that source. So if that's, in this case, the Mariner, that if we're going out there and doing these things, hopefully they can know that they can trust what we're saying, that it's out there and it's true, and that something's happening. It can also be a great mouthpiece for organizations that want to get the word out, be it nonprofits or charities and anything running like that. We love covering things with the schools, all that stuff. So we can serve a lot of purposes and wear a lot of hats at the same time. And like I said, that keeps it really interesting.
So you're the only one doing the Marshfield coverage.
Yeah, the one full-time staffer. We have a photographer who works in the area, and the sports coverage works around the area. So yes.
That must keep you really busy.
It is, and it's fun. I mean, I get to kind of figure out on my own what's happening there.
Yeah.
I'm the one keeping tabs on that. My boss is kind of, he's dealing with a lot of towns as well. So, he's dealing with, not as well because I'm dealing with just the one, but he's dealing with a lot of towns at the same time. So, they rely on us to let them know what's happening. So it's definitely a lot of organization that was not my strong suit when I started, and I continually try and get better. It's stuff always, in any job falls through the cracks sometimes, but it's definitely a lot to keep track of, and it's very important to keep organized, because things pop up on you and you miss things. You got to kind of apologize and work on that. But what's great is that, once you get super organized with that, you can do coverage in advance. You can do coverage afterwards. You can kind of rely on the work you've already done to make your future jobs easier, and kind of build up a repertoire of what's happened, so that you can then base it off of there and build off of stories, so that people continue to know that this is the story and this is what's happened. And this is what should happen down the road.
Do you have any kind of favorite stories that you've covered over the last few years?
Honestly, I forget about a lot of them as I write a lot of them.
Yeah.
A lot. And, it's...
I'm just going to fix my mic.
Oh, yeah.
It's like slowly going down.
Oh, no. Got to tighten it.
Okay.
You good?
Yeah.
Cool. As far as favorite stories, I really love covering new businesses in town. So there's a lot that have gone through the year, and it's always surprising at the end of the year when we do our year in review and I pull all of our articles, and it's like, wow, that many things happened. So that stuff's really fun to do. Those are kind of one-offs. I always think back really fondly, and people think I'm crazy, of storm coverage. So when we had that crazy March in 2018, I believe it was, I was out in Brant Rock with our photographer for a couple of days, just kind of running back to my car to dry off and got her camera equipment dry, and taking video and talking to people down there, and relying on the generosity of some of the Brant Rock residents, whether it's use their bathrooms or dry off or getting some of the heat. But I grew up in Scituate, right by the water, experiencing those storms growing up. So those have kind of been a part of my life for as long as I can remember. So to be able to actually kind of be a part of getting that word out there and sharing that information to people, both the wonder of what this crazy stuff looks like as it happens, but also the safety information, getting that out to people, and making sure that they know that these roads are closed. Do not go down there. There's a, in our circle, famous video of Chief Tavares kind of he and Mike Moresco were over by the church in Brant Rock, and I was just, I had my phone in my hand, so I just kind of threw it up, and I was like, Chief, anything you want to say? And he just kind of went on this rant in his wonderful, wonderful accent that was just so unique, and we racked up lots and lots of views, but also got the word out there to people that this is something to stay away from. So that whole experience was just really overwhelming and wonderful. I kind of once the clouds parted, literally, I rested for a couple of days before getting back on everything. But just that whole thing was really cool. We were recognized by the New England Newspaper Press Association for that coverage as well. We got I won first place in Spot News category at last year's awards for that. So that was really cool, and kind of a culmination of all that coverage, which is fun. And that's also that whole saga was, I think, a good example too of the type of work that the Mariner can do, because it wasn't only this was the storm. This is what happened with some wild photos and wild video. But we also had a story in that issue from the Ming Dynasty because Monica there called me up the day after the storm and we had this crazy thing happen where I had been, Alyssa, our photographer, we were at the Ming that weekend filing our stories because our office, which was then on Enterprise Drive, was out of power and our generator wasn't working. But the Ming had power, which is right down the street. So we were there filing. And so she calls me after the storm and says, as you know, we had everyone write their credit card numbers down because we couldn't run them because the phone line or whatever it was that ran that was down. And then when they got that line back up after the storm, every single charge went through. And it was something like 35 grand or something. And she was just so happy that the people were so honest about that because you could have given
Yeah, you could just
easily
make up a random number.
Exactly. So, we had the storm coverage, we had the reactions, we had the pictures, and then we also had these kind of human stories that make up what this community is and things like that. So that's really that's definitely one of the highlights of that. And then the other one that I would point to was, and this is also one we got an award over the weekend for, was last June, my editors kind of let me, and by that I mean I decided to do it and then told them after it was too late to do a Pride issue for Pride Month, which we had not done to my knowledge in any of the Wicked Local South units at least. I don't know about larger. And that was just a huge collection of, I think I did 13 individual stories, and the issue is full of that. It was, stats. It was what the legislators were doing. It was personal stories. It was all this stuff that, again, brought together lots of different voices in the community to tell one cohesive story in a number of different ways.
Was that one of the ones where you featured one of our former interns, Molly Weber?
Yeah,
that
Mal.
was it?
Yeah, Mal. Yeah. They were awesome in helping out with that. So that was a great part of the story. And we had a number of other residents too that just kind of were comfortable sharing their stories, which was so cool. I texted them after we won the award over the weekend, letting them know. So that was really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, we came in first place for social issues feature story. So that was for the whole issue.
And that's for New England?
Yeah, so that's the New England Newspaper Press Association. It's for weekly newspapers, not the dailies, but okay. Still, yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
The awards are, it's 2020 and we're in the newspaper industry, but just to kind of, just to be reminded of the work that I did over the summer. It was, 7 months ago or so. And it's definitely a lot of work and a labor of love. And I was kind of doing it on my own because I was doing it for the first time and wasn't really sure what it was going to be. But it was one of those fun instances of work where I had a small idea. It was a couple stories. And then as I started working on them, it kind of grew and grew and grew and grew and grew. And then it became this whole entire issue full of it. And, as a gay man living on the South Shore, it was just super important for me to have that kind of representation out there.
Absolutely.
That's not something I saw when I was younger. And that is something I wish I had. So to be in a position to be able to try and do that in the tiniest way possible in one of our small towns. If I wasn't doing that, I would be kicking myself in the pants for it. So, it's not about pushing any political agenda. It's, it's pretty unbiased and everything. But, this is a segment of our community that should be seen because it's there.
Absolutely.
And for members of that community to have that representation out there can make a big difference. Can speak on my own authority on that as a member of that community. So those are some really fun instances of the job and kind of what I've been able to what my editors and stuff have given me the freedom to just kind of go and do without really any formal journalism training.
Did you get any comments or thank yous or anything like that from people who had read the articles?
Yeah, we got a lot of positive feedback. I was expecting more negative than we got, which was great.
That's good.
One of the great things about the community is they're not afraid to tell you what they think, and that's when it's praise and that's when it's criticism. We got a lot of good feedback from people and not that much negative, which was wonderful and
that's
a little
good.
Unexpected, to be honest. So that is a sign of movement in the right direction, I hope.
Absolutely.
Because we're not trying to offend anyone.
No.
Again, and it might seem like it's a liberal fake news type of situation there, but that's not the point. It's not the aim or the goal. And if you're going to take it that way, then that's not.
Well,
then
it's like some people think you're just jamming it down their throat, and it's just hey, we're just saying it here.
With any issue, we get some feedback sometimes from that where it's like, why are you only highlighting this issue in your letter to the editor? And it's like, well, we're printing what we receive. So, we welcome and invite anyone to submit anything. Marshfield at wickedlocal.com. Send them over. We print them. We I think it's every August we receive a ton of editorial submissions from AP English students at the high school. And those cover a broad range of topics of all spectrums. And we don't have a political point of view that we're saying this is what we're printing, this is what we're not printing. It's what we receive. If it's non-offensive and isn't inflammatory and isn't going to cause damage, this is a community newspaper. It's here for you to share your point of view. And as a reporter and as a journalist, whenever I am writing about a particular issue that's might have multiple sides to it, I'm always trying to reach out to people to get both sides. Does that mean that everyone's going to provide their opinion? No, of course not. But we definitely have to try to get those out there, because it's not our job to promote one point of view over another. It's our job to showcase what the opinions in the community are, so that anyone reading it can make an informed decision for themselves and then have their own opinion about it. It's definitely a challenge, and we welcome all participation, because that's what makes it a better newspaper for us, but more importantly for our readers.
Absolutely. And that's actually exactly what makes public access TV like this work.
Yeah.
We have all the different points of view, just,
Absolutely.
As long as you're not like calling for people's heads on pikes,
right.
Exactly. Come in, say your opinions, do your thing, and
that's what it's there for. And
exactly.
That's what we welcome submissions for that all the time. We would love to get more of them. We do get a decent number actually, which is great. It's not constant, obviously, because there's not constantly things going on, but it's awesome to see that, and please send more.
So it's 2020. What's the state of the newspaper business looking like
I
from
don't
the
know.
inside?
I mean, I'm not privy to a lot of those details. I'm just the reporter. But we have a really strong online presence. We have a pretty active readership base online. Social media is huge for us to get the word out there. We just hit 8,000 likes on our Facebook page, which is really exciting. It's been a constant growth process. It's been, I want to say it's like 30% growth over the past 2 years. So
wow.
The people are out there looking for it. And like I said earlier, hopefully they want to look to a source that is going to be consistent, and hopefully we can do that and not screw that up. But there's a need for it for sure out there. It's kind of a balancing act of what a local journalism can do versus what the national journalism can do. I mean, in my opinion, we don't really have a place talking about national issues except for how they impact people here.
Absolutely, yeah.
I had the opportunity to interview Elizabeth Warren a couple years ago when she was coming to town for a town hall meeting, and that was fascinating to me because I was obviously pretty intimidated going into it, but she was super knowledgeable about how the issues actually affected this area. And if we're going to be talking about things on the national stage, that's how we need to be talking about them. Is how do they, from the Mariners' perspective, is how do they affect Marshfield residents? They're not looking to us for national news.
It's kind of funny. Like, I feel like so many people get so caught up in like the national politics, but they don't pay any attention to local, like the things that actually affect them day to day.
I mean, it's true. You and I are always at town meeting every 2 times a year.
Yeah.
I think we had it 5 times a couple years ago. And it's easier to get involved, I think, with things that don't necessarily affect you day to day. And it's also easier to ignore all of it, honestly.
Yeah.
I went without internet and TV for a couple of weeks, and I was shocked at how little I knew was going on.
Probably felt pretty good though.
Sort of, until I realized that like the impeachment vote was happening and I had missed it. Yeah, honestly, it was like, wow.
It's like waking up from a drunken night. Like, what happened?
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, it's happening.
But yeah, I mean, that's definitely true. There's so much that goes on, and it's, I think a lot of opinion about local issues is more reactionary than it is proactive. And that's a shame because, people, if you're passionate about an issue, there's no better way to get involved at the local level.
Yeah,
those opportunities are constantly there for people. And, I'm not a Marshfield resident. I'm not a Marshfield voter. So I have no skin in these games. So, but, it's always interesting to me when we're at town meeting and there are speakers at the microphone who are just, unversed in the topics that they're talking about. And then it kind of can devolve into kind of a back and forth that's not productive between members of the town government and the residents, because there's a fundamental misunderstanding of what's being talked about. And that's what I think is part of the role of the newspaper, and something we're always trying to improve what we're doing on there is to get that out there. But of course, we can only reach so many people.
Absolutely.
But if we can help people understand what they're going to be voting on as they get into a voting body like that, then we've done our job. Do we always do that? Of course not, because one person and it relies on me understanding it too, and it's a learning process for myself as well. But it's true. You can't go into a town. You can't go into a town meeting expecting to learn what's happening that night.
Absolutely not.
And I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing for how a government should work. But it's a lot to ask people to research these things a lot ahead of time. It's a lot of work. But that's why the newspaper can come in. That's why guests on shows on MCTV can come in and explain these to people and make it digestible and make it understandable for what's going on, because we are sitting in selectmen meetings, we're sitting in board meetings and all this stuff. We're reading the town warrants over and over again, and talking with the town clerk about how these things actually work, so that residents don't necessarily have to, and hopefully we can be a trusted source that they can look to get those answers so that things can run smoothly.
Absolutely. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people should at least have a decent understanding of what they're going to vote on at town meeting before they go in. Like, you should not walk in just completely clueless to what it is that you're going to vote on.
And you'd hope you wouldn't be, but I get it too.
Yeah,
people have busy
a lot of work.
lives. It's a lot of work, and but also you have parents, you have people who are dealing with heavy jobs, and commuting takes up a lot of time, and all these things are inherently more important than town government. Your family, your job, all that stuff is more important, and it is it's totally understandable when people don't know what's going on. But that's again why media has to exist to make that accessible and make it understandable. That's not the only answer to that, but that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
It's I think it's better in Marshfield than in some other towns even. There's, because you see, like you said when we started, you see that passion.
Oh yeah.
The people who know about it know about it. I am always super impressed by certain individuals who get to town meeting and know everything front to back, forward, backwards, everywhere. And those
exact wording of everything.
Yeah, and that's, you can't expect everyone to do that.
No,
but it's wildly impressive for the people who can. And those people help the meetings go faster.
Yeah, they've done a pretty good job of getting those meetings done without going like 4 days.
Yeah,
which is nice.
Some towns go crazy, and even I don't know. Again, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I know my coworker in Scituate, she is in selecting meetings for last week. I think she was there from 7 to midnight.
Oh my goodness,
insane.
Conservation meetings go like that sometimes.
Really?
Yeah.
We don't go to those very often, but it's wild. But again, like we said, you can't expect the normal resident to make that kind of time commitment to understand what's happening.
Absolutely. This is too much information.
Yeah. It's a big town. There's a lot going on. Like again, roll back to our first point. It's a big town with a lot going on. And people have the best intentions. It's not like we're trying necessarily to expose any wrongdoing there. It's something we say, we'll talk about what's going on, but it's just so people understand where their money's being spent. Do you want to complain about tax dollars? Absolutely understandable, but you should probably pair that with also understanding where that tax money is going.
So, when you put out an article, do you ever get any hate from people?
Yeah, for sure.
How do you deal with that?
Well, like I told you, I worked in customer service before. We cover a lot of crime stories, and I absolutely understand people's frustrations with that. It is totally reasonable to have an emotional reaction when it's someone that's been arrested or charged with a crime or anything like that. What I say to those people is we treat them all the same exact way. We're not picking and choosing which crimes we're covering. We have a sort of baseline that anything that's an arrest that's more serious than like a lights violation or something. But even if sometimes there's a lights violation and they get arrested, if there's an arrest from something like that, sometimes there's a bigger reason. So it's kind of from that threshold up, we're pretty sturdy, pretty committed to covering all those, because that's the only fair way to do it, in my opinion. You can't pick and choose, because then there's it can become an accusation of bias when you do that. Instead, we're covering them all, and that's just the way it is. And it's hurtful sometimes, but I get it. I totally, absolutely get it. And I wish that, these individuals weren't in those situations, because it's no one would ever wish to be in those situations.
No, it's like life changing, and it's
absolutely.
Now everybody knows.
And it's the internet, and it's a reality that
it's never gonna go away.
It's not going to go away. And the reality of it also is to say we don't delete articles off of our website. It's just a policy that we don't do it. If there's like a disposition from the courts or something that is an update to it that the individual or their family asks us to add, we'll often do that. But even if we were to go through our system and somehow find a way to delete it, that's still going to show up in the Google searches. It's out there. I get it. It sucks. It sucks. But the only way to cover crime, which is, I say this to people a lot too, it's a bedrock of American journalism, dating back to the 1800s. That's why we have the kind of newspaper world we have today, is because they focused a lot of their energy on covering those kind of things. But it's a public service as well. Talk about how are your tax dollars being spent? You pay for this police department, and these are your neighbors, these are your peers, and they are. There's things that happen, and the police get involved. And in order to maintain a sort of base level of fairness, we have to cover all that. I'd say the majority of the criticism, or I don't want to call it like hate or whatever you call it.
I don't want to call it that, but it's a strong word.
No, and whenever you have a situation with anyone that you care about, you're going to have emotion or reaction. You just are, positive or negative. So I get it. I get it when people send us emails or Facebook messages or calls and leave voicemails and stuff like that. It's part of the job. I have to remind myself not to take it personally, because I'm just the reporter doing that. I don't have anything. And the other thing I always say too, I feel like I'm repeating myself on that, but is, our typical thing is that we report on the arrest. We don't report on the crime. So the information we're getting is all public, all coming directly from the police department based on their arrest reports and the recollections of the officers. We don't have the bandwidth or the manpower to follow up on each one of these individual things, nor is that really like as pertinent. We're reporting on the activities of the police department, and that includes arrests. But again, I understand where people are coming from when they have an adverse reaction to what we're doing, but that's not really enough. That's not going to change as far as I, can see.
How do you think being a reporter, everybody knows who you are in Marshfield pretty much.
I don't know about that, but
well, a lot of people do.
Yeah.
When you go and talk with people, not as a reporter, do you feel like they're afraid to tell you certain things or talk to you in a certain way because, you're a reporter and they've got like that in the back of their mind? You ever get that vibe from people?
Yeah, occasionally, but I don't live in Marshfield.
True.
If I'm here, it's mostly time. I hang out here sometimes. I have friends here, but for the most part, I'm here for work. And I don't think that there's a lot that people are hiding.
Yeah.
I'm not. I hope I'm not. I hope I don't ever come across as like an aggressive person or something you should be scared of.
No,
so
definitely not.
Yeah, I try and be. I'm a goofy person. I think a key to doing this job well is to not appear to take it too seriously. Obviously, I'm very serious about journalism and
of course
keeping the truth out there. But as an individual and personality wise, I can't take it too seriously because a lot of the stuff we do is fun and goofy and stuff. And like you said, the variety of the work. I can be jumping from being in court and covering an arraignment to going to a science fair to school to going to an event at the Audubon, anything like that. You can go from thing to thing to thing. You can't take it all too seriously. So I think that there's a lot of stuff people want out there too, and I think that being a friendly face and a approachable person who's not aggressive or taking themselves too seriously allows those people to share that kind of stuff too. Like this week we have a Valentine's Day feature coming out tomorrow today's Tuesday. Yeah, it's coming out Wednesday. And I think it was 10 Marshfield couples to kind of tell me how they met and how long they've been together and what keeps them strong. So like we can do that kind of thing. But I think if I think people know that I'm approachable enough, and if they're comfortable enough to tell me about those kind of things, then hopefully I'm doing my job, and that hopefully people aren't trying to hide things.
Yeah.
And if they are, that's their right.
Yeah.
They don't have. My friends always make a joke off the record when we're talking about anything, as if like anything we were talking about would ever even relate to anything I was doing.
Yeah.
But I'm not out there to make anyone appear in a bad light. Like I'm a human too. It's we live in a community, and this is community journalism, and we're not doing a lot that's exposing people.
Yeah.
And I think people understand that. So
I mean, I feel like usually when people are doing something nefarious in a small town like this, everybody already kind of knows.
yeah, there's you find that a lot when you publish things, because we're not gonna include everything that we can't verify.
Yeah.
But you hear things, and people come up with those same questions to me. Oh, did you hear about this part of it? You hear about this part about it? And you can't verify that. And I'm not sure it would be in good taste to include some of those things anyway. This isn't about any specific thing, but just in general.
Yeah.
So, and I think that if they were doing something nefarious, they might just avoid being around me if they were scared of that. But I don't think that's a situation that really comes up that much. Hopefully. And if it does, I kind of understand that. It makes sense.
Yeah.
But, it again comes with the job. It's part of it. I don't know. What are you hiding, Sean?
What am I hiding? What am I hiding? Nothing, I hope. Nothing comes to mind.
Fingers
But
crossed.
yeah, right. Did I forget about anything?
Yeah, right.
Oh, I forgot to take that body out of the trunk. No.
I always make jokes with that with some of the people in town, like, fake headlines to humiliate each other.
Fake news.
Dead body found in the back of the car. You haven't gotten back to me? I'm going to make a story up about you now.
Yeah, right.
That's the thing, is I have a good relationship with so many people in town and that's one of the things that comes with having done the job for a few years, is you get to build those relationships with people, and they know that they can trust you to get the word out there, and that they can also trust you to, get it right.
So what do you do for fun?
I do a lot of other things for fun. I love listening to podcasts.
Nice.
I bake a lot. I'm a big baker.
Really?
Yep. I do a ton of sugar cookies.
Ooh.
I sell those on the side as well, side business there.
How much do those cost?
Usually about $3 a cookie.
Oh.
Yeah.
Big?
Yeah, they're sugar cookies decorated with like royal icing, so they're all kind of
Nice.
highly decorated. They're all on my Instagram if you want to see them.
I'm going to do that. I love sugar cookies.
They're fun. Yeah. So I do that for fun. I love baking. I love trying out new recipes and doing things like that. I love cookbooks. I also do a lot of sewing and crafting and stuff like that. Another side business, I make Hawaiian shirts for babies and toddlers.
I remember you telling me about that, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been to the Levitate Festival for the past few years doing that. So that's always fun. I do that online as well.
Nice.
Audiobooks, occasionally going to the gym when I get the energy up.
When you're feeling it?
Yeah, see my friends, listening to Taylor Swift. What else is on? I'm going to the concert Taylor Swift at Gillette in August, and I can't wait.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah. I don't relax that well. I like to be busy and doing things. And
keep your
hence the
hands on
hobbies that are
things,
which is why like my AirPods are like the best thing I've ever bought, because I keep wires free and I can do all my crafting and baking and stuff and not have to worry about wires. But yeah, I don't sit still well.
Well, you're doing a great job now.
Thank you. I don't know if you noticed, I've shifted like 1,000 times.
That's all right.
But baking and sewing are my two biggest hobbies there. And like usually I do that with audiobooks or podcasts. I love Bravo TV, which is really embarrassing. But
I think that's like
fun.
one step above TLC. Like,
oh, it's multiple steps above TLC. Because TLC, yeah, it's multiple steps above. I'll just leave it at that. Yeah. I like reality TV a lot. Big Survivor fan. New season starting tomorrow night, I think. It's really exciting. The entire cast is people who have previously won a season. It's the first time we've done it like that, and I'm really excited.
I am low-key a big Jersey Shore fan.
Oh, good. Does that include Family Vacation?
Yes.
Okay, good. I have not seen Family Vacation, but I loved the old series when it was on.
It's different. It's like
was the situation out of jail for it?
He just got out of jail. He's been in jail for like the last season or so.
It was tax evasion?
Yeah, tax evasion. Just gotta pay your taxes, folks.
That's like that's the story, right? That's the classic example.
Yeah. It's the
Jersey Shore. Wow.
Yeah.
It's a blast from the past. Was it as good when we went to Italy? I stopped when they went to Italy.
I mean, it's all garbage, but it's entertaining garbage. So.
Do you have like a duck phone in your house?
No, that'd be funny. Yeah, me and my girlfriend just like marathoned Jersey Shore. My girlfriend and I, thank the writer in the room, folks. My girlfriend and I, we've marathoned like pretty much every season of Jersey Shore over the course of like a month and a half.
Oh, wow. Oh, so you just got into it.
Like, well, probably like October to like November, and then caught up with the season as it like aired. Yeah.
Wow. That's
They're just like one day we're just like Jersey Shore's on Hulu. Why don't we let's just watch Jersey Shore.
It's good to know. I didn't know it was on Hulu.
So
what are you gonna watch next? You're caught up.
What have I been watching? Hell's Kitchen.
Okay, Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah, I love Gordon Ramsay.
He's so mean.
He's not though. He's brutally honest.
I guess that's not the same thing.
He's just very when you mess up, he tells you, and
it's deserved.
He'll call you a donkey, and you typically deserve it. But
as long as it's only when you deserve it, I think it counts as not mean.
Like every time he criticizes someone, I'm like, yes, they were in the wrong.
I'm not sure. I guess it's a different management style, right?
Yeah. But at the same time, like, he's the type of person, like, if you're doing something great, he'll tell you you're doing great. He's like, fantastic job. Right. Like, great job, nothing but praise. But it's like that. You do bad, you get told bad things. You do good, you get told good things.
I had held off on watching Below Deck on Bravo for a while, and in the past couple of weeks, so it's about there's Below Deck Mediterranean, and then now there's Below Deck Sailing Yacht. So it's about the crew of like mega yachts. Basically. Wow. It's a reality show, obviously. It's on Bravo. They only do a couple scripted things, but one of my friends made me start watching it. Finally, I was always into like Housewives and things like that, but it's great. It's a great show. Love Below Deck. But what I found really interesting is it's so much of it ends up being about their different management styles. So like there's the captain who's at the top, and then underneath the captain, which is a male on Below Deck regular and a female on Below Deck med. There's a bosun, which is like the head of the deck crew. There's the chef, and then there's the chief stew, and they each have, well, the chef doesn't have a crew underneath him, but the chief stew and the bosun have crews underneath them, and they're all kind of these kind of kooky characters. But you kind of see how what their management styles are, and then how these different personalities relate to their management styles. And it's kind of a fascinating look into that, because it's a high pressure environment where they're also living together and all this stuff. People want to, it's reality TV. It's nothing groundbreaking, but like it is interesting to kind of jump into those things and see those and kind of pull something out of it, because there's something there. People enjoy that, but you recognize the benefits of like positive reinforcement versus the Gordon Ramsay style. Yeah. And things like that. And what do people react to? Because not everyone's going to react to the same thing. Yeah. And, that's kind of, I see that a lot in our like in the Mariner world, what we do. It's, so part of my job is also, I cover whatever goes on Marshfield except for sports. And then I'm also in charge of the social media. So the Facebook page and everything like that. So you can see the different, like when you're doing something like the Facebook page with a large audience on there, you can see the different like level of reaction based on how you phrase things, based on how you react to people. So if there are people commenting, and you have to kind of see what their mood is, and if you want to respond to it, how are you going to respond to that, and what is going to be the result of the way that you respond? And that's just fascinating to me. It's, how do you get the reaction that you want while also making that person satisfied?
It's gotta be playing some like 4D social media chess there.
I think that's just called like life, Sean. Yeah. Growing up and being mature, unfortunately.
Yeah, we know the meme culture really well.
To life. You got to go really gray. I was balding. So
you're just losing it.
No, I just got rid of it to shave it. Too embarrassing to go thin. That was all Sean Costello's fault. Yeah,
because he's balding.
He's got the same thing. Yeah, so he has a shaved head, and we were out to breakfast. We had both gotten to like the fabrication class at the high school does their boat launch every spring, and we had both gotten the time wrong and ended up being there early. So we went over to the hop to get breakfast, and he's like, James, you should jump. You should just make the jump. Shave your head. You should just do it. And I was like, but I have a beard. He's like, so do I. I was like, okay, cool. And then like the next day I texted him because I had just shaved it all off. And I love it. It was
all
great.
It took?
Yeah, that was pretty much all it took. I've been kind of thinking about it in the back of my head for a while. It was
intended?
Great.
Yeah.
Oh, no, not intended. Damn. Oh, sorry. I don't know if I can swear.
That's all right.
The big thing I didn't realize, I was like I had to go to cover the Pembroke graduation a couple days later, and I totally just blanked on that I was going to need sunscreen my head. So I got to the bleachers at Pembroke rather, and then I realized there was sun beating down on my scalp. So I left my laptop there with some stranger, and then ran to CVS, got some sunblock, and then just
lathered up
all over the head. No lather, it wasn't. No.
Is that a weird word?
I just don't associate it with sunscreen. That's more like oily. Kind of. I don't know.
What would be the proper term?
Apply sunscreen.
Okay.
Just rub it on there. It was lathering. You're doing something wrong. That's like a soap, right?
Yeah. You're the one that writes more than I do.
It's true. It's true. But
all I do is talk, man.
No, to think about it later.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a different skill set entirely. That's for sure. It's interesting to be on the on this side of things. Usually, the one asking the questions.
Yeah. Yeah, I figured that would come into play today. I was wondering how you'd feel about being interviewed instead of being the interviewee.
Well, I never shut up in general.
Interviewer.
And yeah, something like that. Yeah. I never shut up. I talk all the time. Except sometimes when I get home after being at the job all day, I just kind of want to sink in a little bit and not talk. But I'm a talker for sure. So I think it's fun.
That's good.
It's definitely a different side of the coin, but it's a relaxed environment, which there's, not a high. You're not a high pressure guy, Sean.
No.
I hope that's not offensive.
I manage stress pretty well.
Yeah. Well, you're not intimidating. It's a comfortable environment. I've known you for long enough that it's not too weird.
Yeah, no gotchas here.
No, definitely. I texted you that ahead of time. I was like, what is this?
You're like, are you gonna meet too?
What are we doing here? What do I have to wear?
No. Which is perfect. Our next segue, we're gonna bring in all your victims now.
Well, victims? No. Jeez. I'm a nice guy. I'm a pacifist.
Well, I'm glad I can make you feel comfortable enough to come on camera here and just chat for a while.
I mean, why not?
Yeah.
I'm always out and
be casual, just chit-chatting.
That's one of the funny things that happens a lot when we're at work is we have a photographer and it's like something's going on and we're not you want to get out of the picture, so kind of running around behind the photographer trying to make sure we're not in their shots while we're doing things, and then sometimes it just doesn't work and you're just in the background of these photos still looking for somewhere else to go. Usually it's successful though. Just crop me out.
Just crop me out. Just Photoshop you out.
That illusion that we're all the same person. Yeah. It's fun though. It's got, it's lots of fun things coming up this year. So I'm waiting for winter to be over. Mm-hmm. Not that we had much of a winter.
No, I think it's only snowed twice.
And it was both before Christmas, which is crazy.
It usually
never happens.
Yeah.
Who knows? Well, once it's spring, it'll be beautiful and nice.
I hope so.
Hey, better be.
It better be, yeah. After
maybe it'll be snowing in June. Who the hell knows?
Yeah, that's happened before. When I was in college, I think I tell this story all the time, but when I was a freshman, I think it was March, and we had just come back from spring break or whatever. It was 80 for 3 straight days. Jeez. So everyone is in the park across the street at Westfield. It's Stanley Park, but for that week it was Stanley Beach, and the air smelled like wacky tobacco, and
it wasn't legal then.
No, Sean. It wasn't, and red Solo cups were everywhere. But then 2 days later, it was snowing and 20 degrees out. I'm like, how?
New England.
How did this happen?
New England. It's beautiful. Fingers crossed that we don't have to suffer through that.
I know.
I'm dying for shorts weather again.
Yeah, right. I'm ready for summer. I'm ready for it to not be pitch black at 6 o'clock.
That's the thing. It's gotten a little bit better. It's getting better every day.
A little bit by a little
positive.
bit.
Get some positive stuff going on there. Got to believe it's going to happen. No.
Yep.
Because it will.
It's a month away. Month and a half.
I think it's less than
before daylight savings kicks in.
It's in March. Well, I don't know about that, but spring starts in March, right?
Yeah, the 21st.
21st. Yeah. So that's.
Did that groundhog see a shadow?
It did whatever the thing for an early spring is. I don't know. So I think it's...
He's on point this year.
I don't get that. What does that mean? Does that mean he...
If he sees his shadow, I think...
But does that mean that he has a shadow or that he turns around and look... I don't understand the logistics of this situation.
I don't know. This is some kooky Salem witch trials era
does a witch float or whatever.
Yeah. Did the groundhog see a shadow or not?
But is it that he has a shadow? Is it that it's cloudy, or is it that he actually sees the shadow?
How do they even know if he sees it or not?
I saw PETA wants them to use a robotic there was some article that they want to use the robotic groundhog instead of Punxsutawney Phil or whatever.
The groundhog works one day a year.
I want that schedule,
right?
but I don't want like to have the weather hopes of millions relying on some archaic confusion.
I mean, God, I hope no one really like believes in that. Like
just Bill Murray, just Bill Murray,
just Bill Murray. Yeah, that was a good movie.
It's a great movie. Apparently, a decent Broadway musical too.
Really?
Yeah,
I never would have known.
Came out a couple years ago. I didn't see it, but just heard that. All I know is that the set was like sort of designed around a clock or something, which makes sense.
Because it's all about repeating the same day over and over again.
Yeah. I don't know. It's always like I don't super get musicals, but I think it's so funny that they make so many of these movies into musicals and stuff.
Sometimes it feels like either when they make a book into a movie or a movie into a game or a game into a movie, or like you're just like trying to dip dip into different coffers. Like,
well, I wonder if it's like the companies who own the rights to these are the only ones that can afford to put these things on.
Yeah,
so I have to guess.
Because I think they're making a Hamilton movie now too.
Yeah, they are. And I just watched the trailer today for the In the Heights movie, which is based on Lin-Manuel Miranda's previous Tony Award-winning musical, which is, I can't remember who was in it, but it's directed by the same guy who directed Crazy Rich Asians, which was great. So
I like that movie a lot.
Yeah. I hope they're doing a sequel.
It's based on a book, so.
It's based on a trilogy of books.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I can't remember what they're called, but there's definitely a sequel.
I think it's literally Crazy Rich Asians, but
that's what the first book is called. I don't know what the second and third ones are called.
Crazier, Richer Asians.
No, then Craziest, Richest, Asianist. I don't think that is what it is. I hope it's not
working title.
Yeah, right. They're already. Yeah, I know my friends read them, so hopefully
that's cool.
It's a fun movie.
Cats. I heard they're remaking that again.
Wait, what?
They're reworking it.
The movie?
Yes, the movie that just came out and flopped. They're reworking it to re-release it because it was so bad.
Well, my friend and I kept trying to go see it because we went to see this. We saw the trailer for it when we went to go see this god awful Christmas movie that came out last year called Last Christmas.
Oh yeah,
it was
with Amelia Clark.
Yep, and
the guy from
Crazy Rich Asians.
Yes,
it was really bad. It was incredibly bad. But we saw the trailer for Cats, and so it was just looked so crazy that we were like, we have to see it. And then by the time we got around to trying to see it, it was already like pulled out of theaters and wasn't there. So maybe we'll get the chance now. Though I hear they're playing it at Alamo Draft Houses now, which I don't think we have up here, but they're like playing it.
Is that like a beer house?
It's like a chain of movie theaters that I guess serves beer or whatever.
Okay.
But they do like,
because you need beer to actually watch.
Well, they do like
movie.
themed showings, I guess, for a bunch of different movies and whatnot. So they apparently it's like finding a second life in the cult status already. But maybe if they're cutting it, we can see it.
Yeah.
Did you review it on MCTV?
No, we actually don't have any movie reviewers. I'm kind of surprised.
Sounds like you have another hat to put on.
I know. I just put on another hat and just watch movies and review them.
Yeah, why not? Well, listen, I'm a big Taylor Swift fan, as I said, so she was in Cats.
Yeah, you and Jen both, actually.
Nice. Excellent. Did you watch the documentary? Yeah,
I did not.
It was so good.
Jen says yes, yeah.
Yeah, you got it. Highly recommended.
I heard it was good, though.
It was. She's obviously going to be a little guarded whenever, but
of course.
She's it's what I kind of didn't realize. I mean, I knew this, but it was kind of surprising to see it all laid out, like how long her career has been. She's been in our consciousness for over a decade.
What is she, 29 now?
No, I think she's 30.
Is she 30?
I think she's 30.
I know she's a few years older than me, and I'm 27, so. And she's been famous since she was like, what, 15, 16?
Something like that, yeah. I remember.
Crazy.
I first came over like when I was in college, and like Love Story and You Belong With Me were coming out. I remember my friend Abby played me that song for the first time. But that was Fearless, which was her second album. It's like she'd already been around doing that.
Crazy.
And I was in college a long time ago. But she's still killing it. She's growing up. So, I'm happy for her.
Yeah.
Which is so stupid to say for a rich.
I know, right?
But like, respect her enough.
She making that money.
Yeah. Hey, she's a creative person, and she actually writes her music and does her thing and is successful. So
it's marketable.
Can't hate on that.
Yeah.
Well, you can, but
I don't
think we should.
A lot of people do.
Yeah, a lot of people do. It's really not fair.
They're just jealous they're not making that cheddar.
I mean, that's for sure. You love these crazy terms that are your catchphrase?
I don't know. I don't think I have one,
You
but
got to workshop it.
right?
Yeah, it can't be
Shop it
hard.
around.
Right.
Try it on different podcasts.
Yeah, I mean, you have the opportunity. You might as well,
Yeah.
as long as it's not gotcha.
No.
Joan Calamezzo took that. You watch Parks and Rec?
No, surprisingly.
Oh, okay.
I've seen The Office like 17 times through.
Yeah.
I've seen like the first 4 episodes of the Parks and Rec, just haven't picked it up.
It's one of those shows
No
everyone
particular
says you
reason.
have to get through the first 2 seasons and then
Yep.
it gets good. I still love the first and second season still. First season's totally different than the second season, but I still love them all.
I love that dry humor.
But it's also, I think, a lot of people ask me if like covering Marshfield is like being on Parks and Rec. And
Sometimes yes.
Sometimes it definitely is.
Yes.
It's 100% yes. You go to some of these public meetings and it's obviously a dramatized and exaggerated, hyperbolic, not explanation, whatever the word, but.
Yeah, every time a town meeting comes around, we circulate a video around the office. It's what's it called? The People of Pawnee or something like that.
Oh,
Yeah, where it's like just like a super cut of just like ridiculous questions people say at like meetings in the show.
Sandwich that didn't have mayonnaise.
Yeah. Why wasn't there mayonnaise on it?
Yeah. People aren't that bad in real life. No.
We get a good laugh out of it.
Yeah.
Because it's more ridiculous than what we're gonna see.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
I mean, so far.
There's been
knock
some
on
funny
wood.
questions.
Yeah, there always are. But we usually with the best intentions.
Oh yeah. I mean, almost every time someone's getting up there, they're being sincere.
Yeah.
I think there's only been 1 or 2 times where I felt like,
Yeah, and even when they do that, it's for a purposeful
There's a
effect.
reason.
Yeah, it's obviously not that they want to get exactly what they're asking for, but the question points out a truth that is out there, which is fair to point out, I think.
yeah, you're saying it for a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Anything else you want to pick my brain about?
yeah, I'm kind of curious. Being a gay man in 2020, how do you feel like the landscape is for gay people in America?
God,
Or
that's a
just
broad
that-
topic.
I know it's a very broad topic.
I mean, you can't I would never try and
Speak
give
for
an
everybody.
answer to that because it's going to be totally different for.
Your anecdotal experience.
Yeah, I mean, again, my anecdotal experience is going to be very different than even another white 31-year-old man anywhere else because I'm on the South Shore where there's fewer people and there's fewer gay people as a result of that. That's something when you choose to live here. That's part of it. I think that as a white person in general, I just am much more privileged than other people of color who are also in the LGBT community. And so if I were to complain about anything that I have to deal with, it would just pale in comparison to that. I have it so relatively easy with, I've never had a real issue. My parents have always been super supportive. My family's
That's
always
awesome.
been super supportive. When I came out, I told my fraternity first, and they were incredibly supportive and wonderful, and immediately trying to set me up with guys. So I recognize a lot every day that while being a gay person comes with inherent differences, and some of this can be really challenging. I'm in a position and in a place where it's a lot easier for me than it is for a lot of other people in, the same situation in other circumstances. So I totally recognize that. I think what is most enlightening to me about it is just so much of that affects your mental health and your psyche, and that being aware of that and trying to address those things can just be such a lifesaver in terms of maturing and growing forward and understanding what it is that you want and who you are, and understanding because with the pride issue we talked about earlier, I wrote a piece in it about my personal experiences, and the way I tried to sum it up to people who cisgendered heterosexual people that haven't had to obviously haven't experienced being. It's like when we grow up, we are shown things all the time that are heteronormative, which is an annoying word, but things down, I think the example I used was things down to plugs are labeled male and female based on how they how they go together.
Yeah.
There's a dichotomy in everything that is male and female, and when you're growing up and you see that, what that says to anyone is that that's what's correct and that's what's right and that's what's normal. So then when you grow up and you realize that that's not the situation that you yourself are in, you feel othered immediately. And it's gotten so much better, I think, for people where that's an understanding that being gay is a thing that exists and is out there in the world, that isolation is probably lessened in modern times, even compared to like when I was growing up 20 years ago, but it's still probably not great. And there's, to understand that when people are expressing themselves in a certain way, it doesn't have anything to do with the other people in the room. It has everything to do with that individual themselves. And when they're being loudly expressing who they are, that's not something that they've been able to do forever. That's a privilege that they get to do that, and to be critical of that is pretty silly. Yeah. It's not harming anyone else.
No. People just want to be themselves.
Yeah, and I get that. I get it. It can be uncomfortable. It's something you don't understand. It's something that, if it's something that's unusual to you. If it's not something but turn that around, and people like myself grew up living when everything was something that didn't make sense to us. Just didn't make sense.
Was that tough at at BC High? Because I know it's a Catholic school.
Yeah, I wasn't out then. Not really. Jesuits are fairly open-minded. It wasn't like a really BCI wasn't really like a real social experience for me. I had some friends, but it was academics. It was school.
Because you don't all live in the same town and all.
Right, exactly. So you're commuting there, and you're always very busy. And what's also funny is that when you have a majority heterosexual group of men and there are no girls around, they act so much different and are just nicer, and just they're not competing with each other. Exactly. And it's wild to see that, because that whole, because like I said, it's not really a social experience. That's removed. So in general, it's just kind of a more low key, I think, in that environment. That was my experience then, at least. So that wasn't really a super issue. I just think that it was. I mean, again, when I say it was tough growing up, I am fully aware that like my experiences were not comparatively that terrible. But when you don't feel like you belong to a certain group, or you can't express something that you don't even really understand yourself, it makes it even harder to understand what that thing is, and it takes time. And that's why representation in media and things, I think, is so important. Is that kids who are growing up, they are feeling these ways. That they like, I can't explain it, but it's like, you can't explain it, but that that's what you are and who you are. And it's not a choice. It's not something, it's just, that's what it is. And as natural as it feels for straight people to feel straight, it feels as natural for gay people to feel gay, but they don't get the luxury of understanding that all the time. And putting examples out there of people who are living that way lets them know that it exists.
That it's okay.
Yeah. That's a step forward. That even just okay is another step down the line. Yeah. But knowing that it exists at all. Yeah. That's not something I had when I was growing up. And I can distinctly remember the time when I realized what it was and how, and it was in the Patriot Ledger. I was reading something when I was a paper boy, and then it clicked that, this makes sense. And then everything else comes later, like how do you deal with this? What does this mean? What does this mean for my future? All these things. And we've come so far in the past 20 years as far as advancing that cause. But I just think, there's a lot of, it was never something that I was super into talking about that much. Not because I was like ashamed or anything, but because I just am not, like I said, my experience is pretty simple. I didn't face too much adversity in that respect. And so you feel like you're, living very inside your head about these things. And it is going to often pair, for myself, paired with depression and anxiety, and learning to deal with those as a teenager and later in life kind of helps you come to realize how do those two things work together to influence how you're acting, and how do you act in a way that's going to make you feel happy, and what are the things that make you feel comfortable, and who are the people that you want around you that are going to do that, because you don't get to choose all of those things, but you do get to choose how you react, and you get to choose how you want to feel, and you can work on those things. You can't always change everyone around you, but you can choose how you're going to react to them. You can choose sometimes that you're not going to be around those people. So, it's a it's a maturation process. And I'm so impressed constantly when I meet younger people I'm 31. So when I meet younger people who are confident about where they are and also understand that like where they are now isn't necessarily where they're going to be in 5 years, and that they're going to change that because they're allowed. So a lot of these kids nowadays are allowed to live that way, and not like allowed to live that way as in like, I'm not saying that I wasn't, but they're aware of it. And there's examples in the media, there's examples on TV, there's examples in the community of people that can live that model and that it's an option for them, and they get to do that a lot earlier. And there's a tinge of jealousy for sure.
Yeah.
But it is, that's not something you can ever change, but you can change how you go forward. So like, it's definitely, I'm always impressed by these younger kids. Like when I did the Pride issue, talking to some students at MHS last year, including Mal, for that, like the comfort and comfort with what they were comfortable speaking about, and the kind of acknowledgement of areas that were more gray is it's like, that's so smart. It's great. So I don't know that's a pretty roundabout answer to your question.
Yeah, that was informative though.
I hope so. And again, like I don't like talking about those things, like I said, but I think it's important to sometimes talk about those things, because the only way people who don't understand are going to understand is to talk about it. And that is such a truth for so many things. But
that's great. I mean, you've been able to, with not only that article, but just like kind of like living as who you are, that you get to show that younger generation. Like,
I hope so, a little bit.
Fine. I mean, whether you realize it or not, you do, because you just, you're going about your life like a regular, everyday person. And
dress like a slob, and a dirty car, and
just living life and
not fitting those stereotypes.
Yeah.
No.
Well, no, it's not the stereotypes, but just living life,
just being self-deprecating. Yeah, and that's hopefully, that's something. That's the only way to do it. It's not doing anything. You're just kind of living. But is it always super comfortable to know? Like, do I get into environments and hear things from people that I don't want to hear and don't make me feel comfortable? For sure. But like that happens in being a reporter too. Yeah, that's life. Everyone's always in situations which they don't feel comfortable, and you just got to remind yourself of that. You got to, people always want to say like, "Oh, it doesn't define me. It's not who I am." But like about being gay, and while that's sort of true, it's not as productive to think about it that way. I don't think. I was like that for a long, long time. And to say that it certainly doesn't define you, but it's part of your definition.
Sure.
And it needs to be, because otherwise, you can choose to ignore it and you're fine. That's totally great. But most people don't. And at the end of the day, you kind of have to be a representation of something for someone at some point. And if it's something like for me, if that's something that I had wanted to see when I was younger, I have to do that now. I have to be that person, because so hopefully there's someone out there who was like me when I was little, and they won't feel so uncomfortable, and they won't feel so sad, and they will get and understand like what they are and who they are, or something like that. So I don't know. Sorry, getting a little.
No, that was perfect.
A little emotional.
I like that. I
have no like sense of errors that's actually what happens, but I'm hopeful that for at least like one or two people, maybe
that's how you feel, and you never know how people are gonna see how you are, like how they see you.
One thing I always do, which I think is fun. I wear a hat a lot of times, like especially in the winter. I always wear a hat basically. It's weird that I'm not right now, but I have baseball hats that I wear in the summertime, and after I started reporting, I put like a little pride flag pin on the side of it, mostly because if I'm like when I go to schools and things like that, I want hopefully some kid sees that and it's like, cool,
just puts a little seed in his brain.
Yeah, don't say anything. I got my watch, I got that. If they see that, it's like, okay, there's people out there that get it or understand, and it's the tiniest little steps in the giant like march towards, I don't even like march, that's too active, but the slow progress towards anything, like if it's the tiniest thing you can do, you might as well.
Yeah, I mean, because like little things like that, you see so many, like if say I was a little gay boy or something like that, and I saw you at the pin and I was maybe confused about myself, I'd see that and be like, oh, like that's someone out there, that's you're not alone. Like, it's,
I hope so.
just that little thing.
And it's not, you don't say anything. There's no conversation that has to happen there, but just the acknowledgement that these people are out in the community, that can be, big for I mean, speaking from experience, that can be big for a little guy who's out there, a little girl or whatever. Just, it's so funny. Just like to wrap up this part, but like about how much progress has been made. It was when I have a niece and a nephew, and when my nephew was maybe like 3 or so, I was dating someone, and one of my friends was like, "Oh, well, like, how do you explain that to your nephew?" And I was just like, "Explain what?" Because he has friends who have 2 dads, he has friends who have 2 moms, he has friends who have 1 mom, friends who have 1 dad. Like, we've come so far that that's just a thing that little kids are exposed to. Yeah, there's no question. It's like, oh, that's just Jim's boyfriend.
Yeah, it should be all that it is.
Yeah, it's so straightforward. But I get the question though. I gotta explain this to my kids? But I don't fault my friend at all for asking that question. Like, if you're not living that and you're not experiencing that, then like it is a question. If I was younger, I would be like, what?
Yeah.
But and even for my niece and nephew, living that as a normal thing is important to me. So I don't know. It's definitely part of it. But again, doesn't make up. But it's part of it. It's got to be. But that's not, again. And my role as a reporter and everything, that's all my personal stuff. It's
separate.
It's separate. Even when we put out a prize shoot, that's separate. Unless it's written in the first person and by me, then it's separate.
Because it's still a representation of the community, and it's a community newspaper.
So. Yeah, and we, again, there's no agenda to push.
No.
But it's, of course, we choose to put some things in that says something, but that's, it's not agenda pushing. It's just part of the community that we're, hopefully we do our best at that.
Yeah.
And we have, feedback's always welcome.
It drives me nuts when people get mad about stuff like that. Because I'm like, well, if you don't like it, don't read it. Like, just don't read. Just skip past that one. Like,
I get it.
But it's like you're force feeding it to the.
I get the frustration. Crap. I don't get commenting on it.
Yeah. It's like, why do those words need to come out of your mouth? Like.
Yeah. I mean,
it's their opinion, but
think it and keep it to yours. Like, I don't see the value in promoting that negativity.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't do anything good other than make people upset. It doesn't prove a point. It doesn't change anything. It just kind of it just says you're upset about something.
Yeah.
And it also says I'm upset about this and I'm choosing not to do anything about it. And again, I get like we talked about with people who are upset by crime coverage or things. I get the emotion behind it. Sometimes it's just a little confusing as to how it is. And in situations like that, if it's directed personally, it bothers me even less because I'm fairly confident in what I'm doing.
Good.
I mean, and I'm always fully willing to own up to mistakes, which happen all the time. But if I'm not going to be honest about making mistakes, then I have no business doing what I'm doing. I am one person covering this town, and we have staff that supports obviously, but who are covering different things. So we do try our best all the time. Mistakes happen; they just do. And we're going to fix them when we can, and when we know that they happen. So I love when people let us know there's a typo. I love when people let us know that a link is broken or that something looks stupid. I love when people do that because that's an extra set of eyes that helps us create a more perfect product. Not that it's ever going to be perfect because nothing ever is, and we would. Would never pretend that it was, but that's the great part about having a digitally focused news organization is that we can make those updates. It's obviously can't on the print paper because it's there, but
it's done. Yeah.
Having a website that has all the information, that's our primary. I mean, that's my primary focus when I'm a reporter. I'm thinking about that more than thinking about the print newspaper, which also answers one of your earlier questions. But that's a great part about having the online presence is we can make those changes. And again, I love when people call them out because we need to know them. And they have some fun. A lot of times people are a little snarky about it. And I have been snarky on other websites commenting the same thing. So I totally get it. I do not get offended by those at all. Cause usually it is, I'm working too fast or I'm not being careful enough and I make a dumb mistake. And sometimes it's so funny when people don't notice. I had a typo in an article I posted last week. It was about the, Levitate headliners being announced, and I had a really stupid typo, and I I was shocked because that article got tons of likes and stuff on Facebook, and no one called it out. And I was like, what? Like, I was so embarrassed by it when I saw it, and then no one called it out.
It's like right in the headline?
Yeah, like, because the thing, the way, like, I changed it on the actual article, but the way Facebook works is that when you share the Facebook post, like,
That's it?
That's it. So the preview little box that shows up when you post an article, that doesn't update when you update the article that it's linked to. So it's kind of like a stamped in time.
Yeah, it's in the metadata.
Yeah. So even if you like, I think even if you click clear cache and stuff, it'll still show up as wrong. Or so like if so, you know, same thing. If we accidentally have the wrong photo attached to something and then we post it to Facebook, that's going to stay there, which is a pain in the neck because the way Facebook's algorithms work. But yeah, that's why, you know, we can change it and it still looks wrong to every single person who sees it next. So I was trying to just make a comment and say, hey, fixed it. Not going to show, but it's there. But it's, you know, it's a living process. So it's lucky that we're able to make those changes the way we are and change on the fly. So
Bless the internet.
I don't know about that, but it's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah, it's the Wild West.
We're getting more civilized, hopefully. Learning every day.
Yeah.
That's what we can hope for, right?
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's probably a good note to end on.
Cool. Sounds good to me. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here, man.
Absolutely. That was a lot of fun.
I think we just did like an hour 15.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Time just goes right by.
I told you, I
here.
never shut up.
That's okay. That's the point, man.
I guess that's the point. Yeah, long point.
Oh, thanks, James.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sean.
Where can they read The Mariner if they, for some reason, don't know?
Marshfield.wickedlocal.com and follow Marshfield Mariner on Facebook.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, James.
Thank you.
That's it.
Yay. That was fun.